Thanks for coming to today's lecture. And I think most of you have got my email already about the project location and also the deliverables, right? As I mentioned before, so in this semester, because of the coronavirus, so we discussed a lot about how to change its subject properly. Then we decide to move some ways from the final exam to the group project. So previously the group project is about 30% and the final exam is 50. Then in this semester the group project is 50 and the final exam is 30%. So I think it is good for most of you because it's the largest weight is on the group project. It's not on the final exam. And then if you do the project quite well, then you will have a relatively good mark, right? And sorry, let me double check if someone is in the waiting room. No, great. Okay. So because the group project is more than 30%, then it is required to assess the tasks individually instead of like giving a group submission. So in the previous semesters, so everything you submitted is organized by group. So which means if you submit a final report, and then it's per group. So each group will submit only one report. But in this semester, it is different because the weight is more than 30%. So we have to assess the project individually. So I gave a detailed schedule and deliverables of the group project, and I've submit. I mentioned it in the email, and also I upload the. I've uploaded the document on the UTS Online as well. So please have a look at it. If you have any questions, please just let me know. All right. So I will go through each of the deliverable and the deadlines briefly, and stop me anytime if you want if you have questions. All right. So I've released the project list and let you to choose the project already, and I've allocated the project to you as well already. And I think in this semester I allocate the project of your first choice for all the groups. So if you still have any questions, please just let me know. All right. And the next deliverable is the proposal. The next deliverable is the proposal. It is mentioned here. So the proposal is 5%. And it's a document. It's on the scopes, deliverables, proposed approaches. So here the deliverables means what's your deliverables of the project or the task itself. It's not the submissions of the assessment. All right. So it's the scopes. So please write it down about what's the aim, what's the final scope of this project you're doing, and also the deliverables of the project. For example, so I want finally I'd like to deliver the control of the turtle bots to follow each other or something, and make it in details. It can be in details. If you remember, we have some activities about what are the problems involved in that demo and what are the sensors and control they used, right? If you remember that. So that is definitely used in the group project, because a group project is a simple but relatively complete task. And you need to divide that task into several problems and solve it individually. All right, so that's the deliverables and the proposed approaches. And you also need to do some literature review and to put some related works in the project. And please submit it as a single PDF or a Microsoft Word file. and it's better to be within 5 pages. And you can send it to me. You can send that report to me, and the deadline is this Sunday afternoon. So it's 19th April, 6 p.m. All right, and this deliverable, this proposal is per group. So which means each group sent me 1. All right, each group sent me 1. And for each of the deliverables or the submissions is organized by per group, you need to mention about the percentage of each individual student contribute on this submission. All right. So for example, I got a proposal from group 1. There are 3 students in it. And then what I want to have for this proposal deliverable is you send me a document, which is your proposal. And also in the proposal, you need to list the percentage of the contribution of each of the 3 students to that proposal. All right. Okay, so if anything clear, so let me get into the second one. All right, so that's the first deliverable. So this proposal is what we really always do for the project. So for each of the project at the beginning, we need to understand the scopes or the aims, and also the deliverables and the small tasks in each of the project. And we write that to help to understand a bit more and detailed of this project, and also have a very good organization of that project. All right, okay, so in the proposal, it's better also include some timelines, and also the organization of the projects. For example, so this task 1 is done by group member 1, task 2 is done by group member 2, something like that, right? So it's helping you to have a better understanding and better organization of doing that project, right? So that's the proposal. So the second deliverable is the mid review report. And the deadline is the 10th of May. Again, is 6 p.m. All right, so the deadline is 10th of May of 6 p.m. And the mid-review report is submitted per student. It's not per group, it's per student. So each of the students in the group need to submit a mid-review report. All right, so the mid-review report is about the works you've done so far of the project. And please write it individually. For example, so the group member 1 is working on the camera calibration. The group member 2 is working on the video serving. Then write it down what you've done on that topic. You do not need to mention the work done by the others in your mid-review report. All right. Okay, should be clear, right? Okay, so that's the second deliverable. It's also 5%. It's not that much, but 5%. All right. And the next two deliverables are first the code, and second the video. And the deadline is the 31st of May, 6 p.m. All right, the 31st of May, 6 p.m. And the code, initially I'm thinking to let you submit the code individually, but it seems like if I got the code individually, I put them together, they can't run properly. So I changed it into per group. So please submit the code you developed in the project per group. And again, with a description about the code, for example, the structure of the code or the README or something. All right, and also include the individual contribution to the code. Please do that, and then I will first mark on the code, and then consider the contributions to give the marks individually. All right, so the code is 10%, and please submit it per group. Each group submits a code to me, and the code is a complete code which I can run for your project. All right, and please also include a description about code and also the README to let me know how to run it. So if you don't, if you're not that familiar with this, please search on the website. If you can find a lot of related source code on GitHub, then they've done the same thing. So which means if you want to use some code from GitHub, you clone it onto your own PC. Then there's a README to let you know how to install the independence and how to run the code, something like that. So you need to write that as well. So it's some kind of like you need to submit a code, a complete code, with a small report about introduction, brief introduction about code, and also how to run it, how to install and run it, and then I can test the code. All right, and together with the contribution to the code. So what I said the contribution here is for each of the deliverables, then we only assessed the deliverable itself. For example, for the code, you only mention the contribution on the code. All right, you only mention the contribution on the code. You don't have to mention the contribution of the whole project, the management, and the mid-year report, or the video, or the proposal. You don't have to mention that. What you need to mention is the percentage of the contribution on the code itself. All right, and the code at the moment, it must be completed. So which means the code must be complete. Code must be complete by the 31st of May. All right, so if you submit a code that I can't run, then I don't think you have a proper code, a completed code, and your mark will be low. All right, so what I mean is from this, so for the deliverable at the 31st of May, your code need to be complete. So your code need to be completed. All right, so that's the code. And the next one is the video. And video is 5%. And you also need to submit the video per group. It's per group, not per student. It's per group. And the video is mainly about the demo of the project. All right, so it's mainly about demo of the project. Think about how to demo your work and log a video of that and submit it to me. And also, please send a corresponding README file. It can be text or Word or PDF. That's fine. So it includes a very short description about video, and then to let me have a look and have a better feeling about what the video is talking about. Then you also need to mention the individual contribution to the video as well. All right. All right. Okay. So I'm giving you some of the examples about the video in the previous masters, but they are like live demos. They're live demos with the robot, but you don't have to do the live demo. But it's just giving you a better feeling about what the video is about, and then you can do the similar things in the simulator if you don't have a robot, because I saw some of you may have the robot or the simulator itself. Okay, so let me show you some of the videos I have before. So this one is turtlebot following each other. Okay, can you see the video? So let me know if you can't see the video. As you can see, so in this demo, it's about the turtlebot following each other. As you can see, the leader one is definitely not automatic controlled. It's just controlled by the joystick. So it puts some colored markers there. if you can see, they put some color marker here. So I'm totally open to any, and totally open and flexible for any solutions on the project. So this is one of the solutions they did. That makes things easier. That makes things easier to just put some colored markers and also a plan on the back. So I know what they did. They used the rotating laser to detect the distance between the two turtles, and then they use the RGB. They use the RGB camera. There's RGB camera in front. They use the RGB camera to detect the marks. And then it's quite easy to segment the markers out from the RGB image because it's colored in orange. So this is what they did. Okay, so they've demoed a lot of functions. For example, it's like moving straight forward, reverse, and turning left, turning right, and turning left together with reversing, something like that. So this is what it is. It's a very good project. Yeah, so I don't have too much time to show it then. Then let me show you another one. Here is the, what is that? Okay, so this is one about the turtlebot following a straight line. This is not what I really designed or described in the. Let me. Okay, so this project is not what I really mentioned in the description of the project because what I mentioned is use 4 points and also use the traditional visual serving method to do that. But they modified it by making it as 3 QR codes, and they use the QR codes to calculate the pose from the image only. So from RGB image, you can calculate a pose of the QR code. It's quite easy. You can find some public available codes. It's quite easy. And they use that pose to control the robot to move. They modify the project a bit, but I'm happy if you do this kind of modification. So I'm quite flexible about what's your methodology about finishing that project, but do something that you can finish the task. All right, so this is what I did. Okay, so this is another one. So I have a, oh, cool. Oh, good. Okay, so another one is about visual serving. So this one is Dubot one. So we don't have Dubot already, but just letting you to have a better feeling about what the video should include. All right, so it's like video serving. So there are 4 points, and they use the camera on it, and they can control the robot by looking at the points from the camera, something like that, and it's following those points. All right. So what's the last one? Oh, the last one is about the card one. So I do have some videos about. So it's putting that. I do have some videos about the fetch robots. They are mainly doing it on. They are mainly doing it on the real robot, and they're doing quite well. So I can share it to you later in the next lecture. All right. So that is about video. So the video as I mentioned, a video and live demo is quite important in electronics and robotics. So that is the most efficient and proper way to persuade the others that your work is excellent. All right, so please make the video of each of the project, and it's about 5%. And that video will mainly about the demo of the task in each of the project. All right, so for example, if you have a project about fetch robot grasping, then you need to make a video about the fetch robot doing that grasping in the simulator, and you can edit the video as much as what you want. For example, you can put different videos together. So maybe one is about fetch robot grasping one object, fetch robot grasping two objects, and fetch robot grasping three objects. And also you may include some of the videos about the individual tasks in each of the project. For example, the object recognition, so how it performs, something like that. So you can put anything in the video you want, but the main purpose of the video is to let me know what you've done and how good is it, and also demo that you can finish the whole task in the project. All right, so that's the video. The video and code are having a same deadline, which is 31st of May. All right, so totally they are 15%, 10% on the code, 5% on the video. And the second last deliverable is about the teaser presentation, project teaser presentation. So as I mentioned before, so doing a good project, you are finishing about 70 to 80% of the work. And the rest of the work is about how to present to the others in a very short time. As I mentioned before, so if you've done a very difficult project, and then the next task is to let the others know what you've done and how difficult is it and how good, how excellent the work is, right? And the audience may not have their attention to listen to you in half an hour. So you need to summarize and think about how to organize that presentation within a very short time to present to the others, to impress the others. So that's the project teaser presentation, right? So that is 10%. That is 10%. It includes 8 minutes presentation, and followed by 2 minutes question and answers. It is done per group. Again, it is done per group. All right, it is done per group, and it's 10%, and it is 10%. And you need to submit the slides and videos you use in the presentation to me prior to that presentation. And also, you need to let me know the individual contributions to the teaser presentation as well. All right, and the teaser presentation will be taking place in the very last lecture. So it starts from 10, and you will perform. I mean, you will give the presentation one by one. All right. So each group has 10 minutes, and 8 minutes for the presentation and 2 minutes for the question and answers. And you can definitely use slides, PowerPoints, and videos, and any other things you want. But the thing is, you need to submit the materials to me as well. All right. And the marks. So in this semester, the marks will be only based on the peer review. Sorry, I am making it wrong. It's the peer review. The peer review by the other students. I did the peer review. I did the peer review every single semester. So why I'm doing that is to let you have a better feeling about what is a good project and what is not. You're not feeling that strong unless you are evaluating the other projects yourself, and you can find which one is better and which one is not. and you can also have a feeling about comparing of your own project. So that is really helpful. And in this semester, I will also do that. And for this 10% marks, it's only based on the peer review. It's only based on the peer review, I should say. All right. So before the presentation, I will send each of the students a marking sheet. This is like a feedback form, so you can give the marks and also provide some comments on it. And after the presentation, you send it back to me, and I will make the marks only based on your feedback. All right. So which means during the presentation, each of the group will give a presentation, and each of the students will give a feedback, except their own project. They give other projects feedback and marks, and I will use the marks to give the marks of the presentation, which is the 10%. All right, so that's the second last deliverable. The very last deliverable is the final report. So in this semester, the final report is submitting per student. So write as detailed as possible in the final report, but do not copy the code into it because you submit the code already. I find a lot of students, they have like 20 pages of the final report, but 17 or 18 pages are the codes. It's meaningless because you're submitting code already. I can't run it in a document. All right. So please submit a report. If you don't have any idea about how to write a report, final report of the project, search on the website. There are a lot of examples about that. All right. So write the final report and submit it to me per student for each of the students. And in this final report, different from the meet review report, you can write anything you've done in the group, but you need to write it by yourself. So for example, in my group, I have three students working together. Right, so the first student is working on the fetch robots. The first student is working on the object recognition. The second student is working on the grasping. The third student is working on the planning of the robot arm, for example, something like that. When I write the final report myself, I need to write all the parts. I've done, so we've done in the group. But when I write the meet review report, I only mentioned the object recognition, which is my task. All right, is that clear? So final report, I need each of the students to write and send a final report individually. So which means the final report is submitted per student. And also the final report is about the complete project. It's not only about your task. All right, and write the final report as detailed as possible. You can have the abstract introduction and related work and methodology, experimental results, and conclusion, something like that. Right? So write it as detailed as possible, and that is 15%. That is a 15%. That is the largest weight in the group project. All right. So any questions about the deliverables of the group project? Any questions about that?
How long does the report have to be?
There's no limit. There's just no limit.
Okay, thanks.
There's no limit. It's better to be as long as possible. I can't because if a project is that simple that you can only write a report within 5 or 6 pages, then which means that report is too simple. or you didn't do too much things. If you did a lot of things, there must be a lot of sections in it, and there must be a lot of tests, a lot of experiments in it. You can put some experiment results, figures, or pictures in it, and they must be quite long if this good project. So it's better. So my suggestion is write it as detailed as long as possible.
Okay, thanks.
All right, cool. So any other questions?
Yes, Liang. With the it says the mark will depend on the difficulty of the project. Is that like
Yeah.
how far we extend it, or is that just the initial base difficulty of the project? Because obviously we chose those two projects, but we might have not gotten our first choice. So, have the projects sort of have the same difficulty initially?
Okay, so that's a very good question. So I didn't mention it before, but I'm going to mention it now. So different projects have different difficulties, definitely. And in the previous semesters, because some of the projects they are real robot related. They're real robot related, and I mentioned to the students that if they can make a live demo of the real robot during the presentation, the base mark will be 30%. And if they didn't do that, they will be 25. But I mean, I will definitely consider about difficulties of it. So so for each of the project, they have different difficulties. For example, the fetch robot is much difficult than the Turtlebot one, and Turtlebot one is much more difficult than the handheld like video serving. But I will definitely consider about that. There will be weight. There will be weight on that. Yeah.
But with that, isn't technically some of the groups being disadvantaged then? Because the marks would be, like, for example, if you're doing the monocular camera, then you would be limited in the amount of marks that you could get compared to the Turtlebot then?
No, it's not limited. So if the groups of the handheld like video serving one, they did a very good project, and with all the tasks done, and with a video demo, and also the demo during the presentation, and every task is done, and they will definitely get the full mark as well.
Okay.
It's only about if you've done a very difficult project, and you are not 100% finished the project itself. But in this semester, is not that kind of like difference between the difficulties, because you are not moving anything to the real robot. So in the previous semesters, if you're working on fetch, and then you need to work on the simulator first, and then if everything's done, you're moving it to the real robot, and moving from simulation to the real robot, and there are something else happened. So that is something because there are a lot of like additional works to do it. So this is what we really consider. But in this semester, it's not that kind of difference between difficulties. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
No worries. So any other questions? Oh, good. Okay. So my last word on the group project is, so the previous semesters, the students really enjoyed the group projects because they are doing something by combining what they learned together to solve a problem, and after that they can do some demo on the task they finished, and also they enjoy like playing with the robots as well. But in this semester, you can't play with the robot and the sensors in real, but we try our best to make the simulators and to actually feel like similar to what you're going to use on the robot, right? And also the fact in my mind is like the project is the most important part in this subject, because you've used all of you learned and summarized them into solving a real problem of robots. All right, so hope all of you enjoying the project, and I do suggest you put more attention and put a lot of time on it, because it's 50% in this semester. All right, which is a lot. If you get 50%, you are not worrying about if you are passing or this subject or not. All right. So hope you enjoying the project. And the next deliverable will be the proposal, which is the deadline is this Sunday. All right. So all good. If all good, let's move to the